Hey everybody, it's Brian, aka Sports Card Journey, back here for video number 2. Today I wanted to talk about a couple of players that are probably not well known, and they also play hockey, which makes them a little less unknown to most people who aren't hockey fans. But I want to talk about them because I'm going to give you the reason I collect them and also kind of what I look for in certain cards that I pick up of theirs. That being, what I kind of mean by that is, when they're lower end players, you can kind of afford some of the higher end cards. And when you can do that, you can kind of see if the card resonates with you because you can hold it in hand. You can get some of the best cards of that player. You can do all sorts of things that you can't do with like a Connor McDavid, a Patrick Mahomes, people like that. So I like to kind of look and see what certain high-end cards look like in a budget range before I pursue them to any degree of, a higher-end caliber player. So today's players that we're going to look at are both hockey players that happen to be UMass Amherst alumni. As I kind of mentioned last video, I grew up kind of near that area, so I've always kind of had a fondness for watching that program kind of develop from their beginnings to, perennial tournament contender now. So the first player I wanted to talk about was Frank Vetrano. He is a UMass alum. He played there for a couple seasons in kind of the mid-2000s, I'd say. I think it was 2013-14 and 2014-15. He wasn't on any of the more memorable teams, let's say that. He was kind of on the in-between before their new coach took over and Cahoon had left, so they were kind of in that bubble area. They didn't really have an identity, and they didn't have a ton of success on ice. I like Vetrano because he's from the area. He's also from the area that we're from. He's actually from East Longmeadow. Like I said, he's a UMass alum, and he's also put up some decent numbers in a prolonged NHL career, and that's kind of what I look like. I'm not just gonna collect a guy who played 3 games at, in the NHL that graduated from UMass, but I'm looking for some people who've had some staying power in the league. So, the other thing I like about Vetrano is he went undrafted. He kind of begged, borrowed, and stealed to get where he is, and he's earned every penny and every accolade he's ever got. The other thing I like about him, he started his career with the hometown Bruins here, and he kind of, he went on to Florida. He filled a role there for a while, really came into his own. Then he got moved as a deadline acquisition by the Rangers, where he performed pretty well, and it ended up getting him to where he is now in Anaheim, where he actually had a breakout all-star season a couple of years back. So things have kind of really opened up for him. He's struggling this year, but the team is doing pretty well, so we'll see what happens there. The second player I wanted to talk about today is Mario Ferraro. He came a little bit later than Vetrano to UMass. He played more in that 17-18, 18-19 range. He actually had... the team had some great success under him. Not so much the first year, but as a sophomore, they actually went to the national title game that year. He played with people like... Bobby Trevino, John Leonard, Cale Makar. They had 2 great goalies back then, one being Matt Murray, and I believe Lindbergh was the other one. They had some really fun players to watch, and it was a fun team to watch. Unfortunately, when they got to the national title game, they definitely ran into a buzzsaw where they played a very talented Duluth team, which I think beat them 3-0. It was ugly. You could tell Duluth was just in a different place, a better hockey team. And you know what? A couple of years later, that actually worked out for UMass, that experience, when they actually won the whole thing. So that's just kind of a history on the 2 guys. What I wanted to talk about now was some of the cards that I've just kind of been putting aside, some recent mail days that I wanted to kind of show you. The first one is kind of your who's who, kind of it's not quite a base card. It's called Young Guns in hockey. I would compare it more to like a Silver Prism in other sports. It's not quite a base card, but it really is. And this is kind of a hockey player's first major release. And you can kind of see here, this is kind of your basic Mario Ferraro Young Gun. Some of these can fetch a pretty penny. Like if you're looking at a Connor McDavid, you're going to spend $3,000 for a highly graded one. Most of these are an obtainable card, though. It's kind of your base entry, your most affordable rookie card. It gives you, it's nice. It's in a flagship release, and it's something to get excited about every year. Going on from that, they actually have some different types of Young Guns to make them a little more chaseable. One of the ones I have here is actually his silver foil one. This is actually comes from e-Pack. You actually have to combine some of his Young Guns to come up with a silver foil. You can see it's just a little bit different, a little bit more shiny than the base Young Gun. You can see them both side by side here, how one of them kind of refracts and one of them is just kind of your base, your base cardboard. I like these cards, like I mentioned, because it's the first real release of their rookie cards. Yes, MVP traditionally comes out earlier in the year, but the Young Guns is what everyone wants. In recent years, 23-24 to be specific, they actually kind of redid how they were doing some of these parallels. Kind of coincided with the Bedard year. So you had your Young Guns, you still had your silver and your speckled rainbow, which came in the e-Pack achievements. Then you ended up getting your exclusives and your high gloss. The exclusives was out of 100, the high gloss out of 10. Those have been around for a while as well. Very, very pricey for certain players. In addition to that, then they started a deluxe, which was out of 250. That was a nice little insert as well. Then after that, they did this thing called Outbursts. And it kind of took the place, if I'm not mistaken, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I think it took the place of the French parallel, and it was something Young Guns hadn't really done before. It kind of got them something fancy. Here, I'll show you. This is not one of the two players, but I wanted to kind of show one. This is a Brad Marchand, just your base silver parallel, so more rare than your base card, but still definitely findable, accessible, and you can see it offers a little bit of pizzazz, little shine, little of this. So in addition to your silver parallel, you had the red parallel, the red outburst out of 25, and the gold 1 of 1. Some of the bigger gold 1 of 1s that we've seen so far are all from the 23-24 season because they're the first year. There was a bounty out for the Connor Bedard. Nobody's seen it publicly yet. There's actually no bounty anymore. And then the Macklin Celebrini, I don't believe has been seen either, but Connor McDavid has had his surface. Like a lot of these are high-end sales, like just, kind of people wanting that first year card. And that's kind of what I look to too a little bit, is getting that first year card, but in a price point I can afford. So now that we've kind of talked about the players and the cards I'm looking for, we've gone over the Young Guns, and I've kind of shown you a base outburst. The first thing I wanted to show you was second to me after your Young Guns is the OPC Platinum Seismic Gold Rookie. I love these cards. You can see on my Instagram, which I mentioned is at the Sports Card Journey. I'm currently going through all of my Seismic Golds. These are, like I said, a set in OPC Platinum. These are a parallel. They're out of 50. There are some others as well. You get the orange is out of 25, the green's out of 10, and there's some others above. So there's a little bit of accessibility for everyone. And I try to get the gold. I like the gold, and when there are players like this, they become increasingly affordable, and you can kind of do some different things, see what the cards look like. So the first one I wanted to show you was the Mario Ferraro Seismic Gold. Like I said, out of 50, this is his rookie year card, 1920. Beautiful year for the product. Like the gold just really kind of sticks out on that. So what I'll do is, now that I have this card, I'll kind of look for other players that I collect that year that, if the price is right, I'll look in, because I really like the way the gold looks on this. You can see it's out of 50, just, your basic on the back. He didn't have any NHL stats yet, so you can kind of see what he did at UMass. Very, very cool cards. I also have a Frank Vetrano. This one's a little different. This is the 24-25 version. You can kind of see that. Same thing out of 50. The shine's a little different. Same thing, just a little basic info on the back. Interesting thing about this is actually the only year that Vetrano was included in the set to date. So this is technically his first year of OPC Platinum Seismic Gold. And like I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, for me, it's important to have that first year, like the player's first of something. It's not necessarily a rookie card, but it's his first parallel in this set that really catches my eye. Moving on, I actually just acquired this card. It's not a Seismic Gold, but it was a level up, and the price was right, and I moved a couple cards in order to get it, but I wanted to see what a Golden Treasures looked like. So the Vetrano popped up on eBay recently. Like I said, I was lucky enough to acquire it at a pretty good price. So this is the Golden Treasures. You can kind of see it's the same picture as on the Seismic Gold. Kind of see that a little bit. Sorry, getting used to the camera setup. So you can kind of see just a different parallel. The Seismic Gold, while being out of 50, this is actually the 1 of 1. So every player in the set receives a 1 of 1, everyone in the base set. So this is kind of the Vetrano 1 of 1 of this set. So this is kind of the highest end card, if you will, of the OPC Platinum parallel set. Like I said, the reason I went out and acquired this is, one, Vetrano is a player I collect. He's a UMass alum, he's a Western Mass native, and OPC Platinum is an important set to me. So this is also his first year in OPC Platinum. So I was able to acquire both the gold and the 1 of 1. So I theoretically have his two most important cards that he'll ever have in OPC Platinum. And that's kind of a cool little flex, if you will, for players you might collect. Just a couple others that I wanted to show you. I'll save I have 3 cards left. I'll save the fun one, the fun two till the end. The other one I wanted to show you, neither one of them have a Future Watch auto, which I'll go over a different time. But Mario Ferraro does have a Cup RPA. When it comes to high-end cards for hockey, the Cup is where it's at. Think of it like a Flawless or a National Treasures when it comes to Panini, or like a Topps Dynasty, something along those lines. So like I said, this is the Mario Ferraro RPA, Rookie Patch Auto. You can kind of see it's a very clean design. He's got a nice signature on there, and he's got a multicolored patch, which you can kind of see a little design element to it. The Cup every year releases their rookie class. Most of the class gets a print run of 249, and some of the higher ends will get like a out of 99 run. And there's, like I said, there's also inserts and parallels and variations of this, but this is kind of your base card for the Cup. So it's out of 249. You can see the back. I like these cards. They're very clean. They utilize white space really well. Just a nice, sharp-looking card. So I mentioned outbursts earlier, and just a reminder, that was kind of the Marchand. This is your base silver outburst, so kind of the basic, if you will. I recently acquired 2 of the reds out of 25, and I had never seen one in hand, so this was kind of important to me to see if I actually liked the card. Now, both of them are from the 23-24 year, which means they're the first red outbursts, which is kind of what I'm looking for. Certain players I may go beyond into their 24-25 release, but mostly I'm looking for the 23-24 because it's a first. So, first player, Mario Ferraro. You can kind of see his red. It really kind of pops nicely. It's out of 25, like I had mentioned. The red really works with the teal, oddly. It just kind of pops. It's a beautiful little card. Then the last card I have to show today is the Vetrano out of 25. Same thing, out of the Outburst first year set. The red is nice. Like I said, there is gold 1 of 1s that I keep my eye out for, but those are pricey, so who knows if I'll acquire one. But something to keep an eye out for. Now, like I said, these cards are hockey cards, but the strategy I use today can actually be brought into any sport or anything you're kind of collecting. What you do, or what I do, just to kind of give you a quick rundown, is I look for players first, who's important to me, who gives me the nostalgia. I then look at their checklists, and tcdb.com is something I use for that. And more recently, for a lot of the more recent releases, you can use hockeychecklist.com, which the Gong Show boys have put a lot of work into, and it's a great resource. But that's where you can kind of go in and find a player's history, look at the sets that they're in, look at the years they were in that sets. You can see the parallels, you can see things. And I look for sets that have had staying power. So the Young Guns are always in flagship. The next one for hockey would be SP Authentic, where you get your Future Watch Auto. I then go to OPC Platinum. I also look into Metal Universe for some PMGs and things like that. And there's a few others that I'll show you as we kind of get further along in these episodes. But like I said, you can kind of take this into any sport. So let's say, for example, you're a baseball collector. Topps flagship comes out. It's probably getting ready to come out soon. And you're kind of, you'll get your base rookie card, your paper version. There's going to be a lot of parallels of that version in there. So kind of look and see what they are. Make sure they have staying power. At least I like to think that. So when I look at Seismic Gold, I know that's in the set every year. A lot of times with Topps, you'll see Seismic Gold and Seismic Gold Wave or Gold Glitter or something like that. I like to stay with the strong base color, the one I know that's going to be there every year. You can do that set, very accessible, very affordable. You can wait for Topps Chrome to come out, which is similar to the base set. It's just their shinier version, nice cards, things like that. And then you can kind of look, just kind of proceed down the line and get higher end. You got Inception, you've got Cosmic Chrome, you've got a lot of different things that you can kind of look into. Just, I always say look for things with staying power. Don't look for something that might be a flash in the pan. At the end of the day, you want to kind of collect what you love anyway. So whatever floats your boat. These are just some tricks and tips that I've picked up that work for me. Please leave me some comments, suggestions. I'm looking to improve, give you better content, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks. Bye.